guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Noelle and today is, what is it? Is it week 11 already of community quarantine? Yeah, pretty much. Tomorrow is June 1st and Metro Manila is set to transition into what they call a general community quarantine, which is just a little bit lax. I think it was supposed to be what the community quarantine was planned for, starting March 15, where people could still go to work, but you had to have some social distancing measures, and obviously the advice has changed on use of masks, so people have to wear masks now. Public transport still isn't at 100% capacity, but that's what they say is supposed to help control the transmission of the coronavirus here in the city. So who knows? On March 15, it was a little bit of a big disaster, which is why they decided to impose a more enhanced community quarantine where people could not go to work at all. But yeah, we're heading back towards there where people can go back to work. There's some more construction noises happening because construction is now going to be allowed. You can hear the airplane as well because more flights are on the schedule already. So yeah, a little bit of what they call the new normal is coming in. Now, whether or not that's going to still help us keep community transmission of the coronavirus low is, well, I'm gonna give it 2 weeks to see whether or not we're actually succeeding. But in any case, because of GCQ, the pools are going to reopen. Well, at least the pool here in my condo complex. So I'm going to be able to swim again. So now I'm allowed to swim and run outside. The bike, because I can't leave the city still, we're going to keep it all indoors. But yeah, I basically have all the things that I used to do return to me in some form or another. And so yeah, it feels a little bit normal, a little bit, except that, you know, the thought of still catching the virus will still be there to haunt you. But in any case, in the past few weeks of community quarantine, especially during the time when I couldn't run outside, and of course I couldn't swim, I decided to master a skill, or some might say it's a little bit of a party trick as well. Something that I started learning maybe last year and then put on the back burner, and that is how to do a headstand. Yeah, so you might have been seeing it happening on my Instagram, especially in stories, especially when I've had a little bit of a breakthrough in terms of the technique needed, etc., etc. But for the past week and a half, I've finally been able to get my legs up straight over my body. Now, whether or not I can keep them there for much longer is something that is, well, on a day-to-day basis. Some days it's really easy, other days I don't get there, but at least, you know, I know that I'm able to do it, which is different from in the past when I was kind of like, I didn't know if I could do it, I didn't know if I could ever get around to doing it, and I didn't know if I would be happy once I learned how to do it. I decided to start learning headstand just because it was something that I was introduced to during a Puma Do You Hour yoga class, and the instructor there said that I was already really close to getting my legs up, but I was just too scared to actually try it. And so since then it was just always wall assisted, so I had a wall behind me where I could lean my straight legs. I couldn't really stay up vertical, it was always kind of like bent over. But that was okay because my point of doing the headstand was to strengthen my shoulder girdle for those long hours of being on an aero bike. But I'm not on the aero bike now, except for when I'm Zwifting. I decided to learn to do the headstand just because it was there and it was a skill that I could learn. It was I didn't need a lot of space to learn how to do it. I just needed time, which I had lots of. I also have a few other triathlete friends who actually did start to try to learn to do this because they introduced some yoga into their routines, and the headstand was part of the yoga sequences. A headstand is actually one form of inversion. Other inversions include downward facing dog, handstands, shoulder stands. You're basically putting the weight of your body on something that's not your legs. So it's an inversion. What I really wanted to share with you in this video today is what I learned from learning how to do a headstand. I've listed down 3 things because let's just keep it short and simple, easy for you to remember. Okay, first lesson is that don't let the idea of perfect be the enemy of good. So there were some days where all I could manage was just getting my hips up over my shoulders, and then I had to keep my toes on the ground because my balance just wasn't there. But that was progression, because there are other days when I just didn't want to do the headstand progression. So yeah, progression is better than aiming for perfection all the time. So you have to respect where your body is on a certain day, and on certain days your body just doesn't want to get there. It's fine. Do the prep work, try to get as close as you can, and then if it's still not there, then just back off and leave it for tomorrow, because there's always tomorrow. Lesson number 2 was preparation is key. You can't just jump into doing a headstand after eating breakfast, for instance, or you know, you wake up and you just jump into a headstand. Like any other exercise, you do need to warm up. You do need to get your range of movement there. You do need to prepare your muscles and your blood flow. So I've always found that a good energetic yoga session helps to get me into the right space, my body into the right space in which it's ready to go for that challenge. The other thing is the right headspace. The headspace of basically just doing the move, breathing through it, and not overly thinking about it. And so yeah, preparation is key. The other thing is that you do need to do certain specific preparations for headstands, and I will let more competent yoga teachers teach you how to do it. You can probably find headstand preparation videos all over YouTube. Just make sure that you're going for the real yoga certified teachers when they start to teach you how to do it. Yeah, so the key preparations that I've always used are forearm planks, which help to start warming up the shoulders and the abs. And then there's downward dogs, which get your arms into the right position, which they have to hold when you're doing the headstand. So the shoulders must be pulled down away from your ears, that sort of thing. The last one, which I started to do, and that's when I experienced the breakthrough in which I was able to finally get my legs up straight over my head, is the shoulder stand. So it's an assisted shoulder stand in which you're lying down on the ground, and then you lift your hips up and you support your hips with your hands, and you try to get your legs up as vertical as possible. So this is your head, and then these are your legs. That's a shoulder stand. So when I started doing the supported shoulder stands in preparation for the headstands, I found that it was much easier for my body to learn the right kind of position in which my legs would balance over my body. And the last lesson that I learned from learning how to do a headstand is that failure is a part of learning how to do it. And failure is a part of learning how to do other things as well, which is why you start small and gradually build into doing big things, because you can afford to fail at small things. Yeah, and at least it's not such a big disaster, so that when you do the big thing, you kind of know what to do, what not to do, and it paves the path for success. So yeah, failure is part of it, part of learning it, and you just have to keep practicing. Practice is what's going to give you the courage and the confidence that you're going to be able to do it, and the confidence to go for it as well, because that's the thing. At some point, you know, you've got your legs up over your shoulders, and you know your hips are up, they're vertical over your shoulders, your legs are still bent, and you're trying to get those legs straight. At some point, the balance is going to feel like you're going to fall over backwards. And when you can balance on that tipping point, that's when you can get your legs up. And I had to fail a few times, like actually fall over backwards, before I could find that center of balance. Now, it's a good thing though that when I fell over backwards, I had a bed behind me to kind of cushion my fall. But yeah, I mean, I had to find that tipping point and fall over it, fall past it, so that I could learn not to fall past it the next time. So yeah, failure is part of learning. And the thing is that when you learn something, like a skill, you can extract general principles from it that can feed into your everyday life. So I'm going to take what I learned from learning to do a headstand, and I'm going to apply them to everything else that I attempt to learn again in the future. Like, just keep trying, just keep practicing, prepare, and don't be afraid to fail. Much guys for listening. If you found this informative, entertaining, maybe even mildly inspirational, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again next time.